Hi, good evening to all. Once again, welcome to the SIMB training today. And I wish everyone happy Chinese New Year. All right, every day our social media feed is flooded with thousands of posts and it is difficult to stand out. And how can we be noticed and develop our personal branding? So today, we have Unicity Chief Experience Officer, Ms. Colette Dow, to share her expertise on success in social series, prospecting, and posting. Having more than 10 years of experience in the industry, she has what it takes to bring the best out of your personal and unique brand. Okay, so without further ado, let's learn together. Over to you, Colette.
Hi everyone, my name is Colette Dahl, and this is a social media training on prospecting and posting. I am the Chief Experience Officer at Unicity International, and I'm really excited to be here today. Unfortunately, timing zones didn't quite line up, so we're getting a recording, which is sometimes not nearly as fun as having interaction with all of you guys, but we're going to see if we can still get you some good information and talk a little bit about prospecting on social media. So let's get started. So the most commonly asked question I hear from people who are really interested in using social media is, what should I post? Depending on where you are in your distributor journey, you may be getting ahead of yourself by being primarily concerned about just posting. So I like to kind of recenter people around this idea of basically people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if what you're posting isn't helping people better know you, like you, or trust you, you're not going to get very far. But before we have a discussion again on what to post, I have to make one thing clear. Unless you're already somewhat of an influencer with quite a few followers on multiple platforms, your posts, again, are not the most important part of conducting a network marketing business online. So, given that, how do you go about doing business with social media then? Well, first, a disclaimer. I'd like to make it clear that, as you know, I am not your upline. I also do not have the benefit of having built my own organization in a network marketing business. So what I'm sharing with you now are ideas and suggestions that you can try if you feel they make sense for you. However, I won't teach anything in my social trainings that I have not seen be successful firsthand in the MLM industry. So in a way, you can think of me as a curator of social methods that have been very highly impactful for others who are building a business. Does this mean that you should stop everything you're doing and focus only on building on social? Not necessarily. Generally, your upline is more familiar with what works in your market, your specific skills and interests, and they may wish for you to follow a certain system. So nothing that I say is meant to replace any of that guidance, but hopefully it just adds a dimension, at least, of understanding for those who are really curious about building on social, or just want to understand why some people are using this method and how it works. So let's dive in. I see and hear a lot of people who say, social doesn't work in this business, or I've tried and I just can't seem to get traction. Most often, I feel like people who have this experience are doing what I kind of jokingly refer to sometimes as a post and pray strategy. So they do one of two things. They post about how great their life is because of MLM, or they throw a Google image of a product on the page and they sit back and hope that people will come flooding through to them. So as a result, you know, their curiosity tends to be around, what should I post? What should I post? And why isn't what I post effective? Why aren't people flocking to me? So again, we will talk about posting, but I want to start by talking about one of the more impactful things about social media and network marketing, and that is prospecting. So we're going to talk about prospecting using Facebook to get us started, and then we'll chat about what to post, what not to post. We'll talk about Facebook and Instagram. Now, remember, social media is really its own world. And we certainly won't come close to covering everything. There's so much to do, but we will go through some very actionable steps that you can do to begin broadening your social media circles. Okay, so prospecting on social is really just making friends. You are looking for people that have something in common with you. That can be any number of things. So here's just a few ideas to think about, and it might help to make a list and think about what you want to go and look for. So parenting groups, groups with or kids activities, school groups, other brands you like. Honestly, you can meet so many people by having commonalities in just the things that you like. So clothing brands, electronics, things you're passionate about, interests or hobbies, whether you like fixing cars or making art or viewing art, any kind of books or reading groups, home decor, sports, pets. There is a group on Facebook for every possible interest, and probably one in your area, even geographically. So you'll find that once you start poking around, you will find all kinds of new places where you can engage with people. So again, keep a notepad, make some lists as you start this exercise, so you don't forget any of the great ideas that come to your mind. Okay, so I've thought about my interests and I've made a list. Now what? So now what you're going to do is you're going to go into your Facebook account and find a group. So many of you probably already know this, but we are going to go through step by step for those who don't. I know a lot of people use Facebook, or some people prefer Instagram, but it's Facebook groups is just really one of the most effective ways I've seen to do this. And so we're going to start there and go step by step. So some people use Facebook, but they don't use groups. If you're on your desktop, you can see this little icon with, it looks like 3 little people. It will be at the top. If you're on your phone, which probably a lot of you are, you'll find it to the side. So what you're going to do is go ahead and click on groups. Okay, so in order to, basically once you've clicked on the groups, you will see a page that looks something similar to this. Obviously it won't be the same picture, but you'll see a button that says Discover. So if you click this Discover, so here on the side, the Discover, I don't know, it looks like a little map or a little paper map, something like that. So click Discover, and that will take you to a thing that looks like this. And I actually made a little screen video to show you what mine looks like. So there are groups your existing Facebook friends are in. So if you kind of watch this, and it'll show those groups. And then you'll see categories. You'll see groups that are popular near you. You'll see just random groups. I'm not sure where love groups came up with, but some relationship quotes came up in mine. Travel, sports and fitness, recipes, direct sales groups. So all kinds of things are coming up. So if I go ahead and click parenting as a category, then it's going to pull up all of these specialized groups that are about parenting in a tech world, for instance, parenting memes, babysitters near me. So all kinds of things that are related to that topic. So you can poke around in here and check out a number of categories and see what looks interesting to you. Now, you're going to want to have a look at the number of members and the number of posts per day or week. If you select a group with 90,000 members, for instance, and hundreds of posts per day, it's pretty unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely that your post, if you post in the group, is going to stand out. So well, and then on the other hand, if you pick a group with too few of members, then and too few posts per day, then you're not going to get a lot of engagement. So you want to be really balanced when you're selecting groups that you hope to make friends in, prospect in. So here are a couple of examples that were given by your market leaders. And I guess I should mention this call, if you're watching this on playback somewhere else, this call was specific to Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, possibly Indonesia. I have to remember on that one. But so this call was specific to them, but much of the content is pertinent all over the world, no matter where you are. Social is really very similar globally, actually. So these come from Malaysia and Singapore, these examples from some of the market leaders, and they're very good examples. So they've posted out, for instance, that you might think it's super easy. I'll just go to a job somewhere where people are looking for jobs and I'll talk about the opportunity. Well, that might be a great idea, but if you go to a group like this, Job Vacancy Malaysia, that has 217,000 members and 600 posts a day, you're probably not going to be getting a lot of interaction. You might have good connections here, but it probably would not be the one that I would choose for the purposes of what we're doing in this exercise. So even here's one that's a little more reasonable, 30K with 120 posts a day. Still quite a few posts. But here's examples of other types of groups that actually Lily was so nice to send these to me, that she says are in the area, and they're great. They're a great example of groups: sports fans groups, Pilates, yoga groups, fitness groups, upcoming runs. Such great places if you're interested in those things, but make sure it's something that you are interested in. So under weight loss, because what a great category for us, right, with health and wellness. Under weight loss, I went through and I said, okay, I'm probably not going to join Weight Watchers because it's another brand entirely, and it's got a ton of people, and it just doesn't seem to be a fit. But over here, Ketogenic Diet Malaysia, 14,000 members, 10 posts a day. I could probably reach some people. We have some products that serve that lifestyle, and I could probably start a relationship with those people in that group. So I thought that that would be a good example of a possible group to join. Or even this one, Daily Weight Loss Tips, which is just a general, looks like a weight management type group. So something there, it's got over 300,000 members, 70 posts a day. So it's still pretty active and quite a few posts, but you may be able to make some relationships in a group like that. It's one, you could give it a shot and see kind of what works. This one I thought was really great. Healthy weight loss and dieting tips. 44,000, 10 posts a day. So people are in there, they're active, they're probably engaging with one another at a healthy rate. So that was just a couple of examples, but you're going to find what works for you is kind of a little bit of a trial and error. Okay, so, and here's a couple that examples that were sent to me that are really a little more targeted. So, for instance, Jobs for Moms. This would be a great group because a lot of people are looking for a side income so that they can stay home with kids or whatever the case may be. Conversely, a property market, a real estate group. This is pretty interesting because if I'm thinking about the type of person who is looking to invest in real estate or has real estate, then possibly they have expendable income, which is a good market for sales for our products. Maybe they're interested in building wealth, which also is a great market for what we have to offer in way of the business opportunity. So what I advise is to just try a few to start, find a couple to focus on, and then you can expand how many groups you're in or change based on the results that you're having. So you really kind of have to find out what works for you. Okay, so now, before all that, you have to join the group, right? So some groups you have to be approved to join. Just make sure you join the group properly. So what does that mean? Each group has a different process and rules. Not all groups will make you answer questions like the examples here on the screen, but many will. And all groups have rules that need to be followed. And you want to make sure that you really do a good job of reading the rules and agree to and abide by the rules of each group that you join. And so this may mean that sometimes you'll have to go back and check the rules before you post something. Many groups today will specifically call out MLMs or sales posts as not welcome in the group. This is okay. This is not a deal breaker in any way, shape, or form. Just make sure you follow these rules. Remember, you're not here to post and pray. You are here to make friends. So I really like the example in one of these, and I just kind of pulled these off random groups so you could see what they might look like. You'll see, no MLM other ads, but I really liked this note on one of these groups where it said, try to give more than you take from the group. And I think that's just a really good, mindful way to engage on social media. Okay, so now you found some groups or a group or however you ended up doing it. And now your main job is to engage in this group. So I have a good friend who is a leader in a network marketing company. And I was chatting with her about some of her methods, and she is also a tennis player. So I'm going to share some of her tips. But you have to engage. You cannot just be what people call a lurker. So you're in the group, you're reading posts, but you're not doing anything. You have to actively jump in and engage. So become part of that community. And you can do that by asking questions, sharing value, especially if you've chosen a group that is something that you're interested in. You are going to actually really enjoy sharing things you know about it. Let's say that you chose a pet group, for example. You're going to start talking about your pet and sharing things about your pet or sharing knowledge that you have about certain animals, something like that. And people will naturally engage with you as you engage with them. Secondly, be consistent. You want to make sure that you're posting regularly or commenting regularly. You do not have to be posting. In fact, most of the time, when you're starting out in the community, you're really just kind of seeing what the group is about and looking for opportunities to engage in discussions. So you can think of, I always like to think of social media, it's digital, but it's like real life. It's like going to a party. So if you show up at a party where you don't know anyone, you don't just strike up a conversation with yourself and hope that someone else comes and joins you. You go and find someone who's already talking about something that's interesting, and you maybe listen to that page as appropriate. So it's the same with these types of groups. So through this commenting and asking questions and sharing values or sharing, laughs that are appropriate to the group, you become, you build relationships. Okay. So my tennis player friend, she calls this the art of the rally. And so what she challenges herself to do this. She engages with someone, and she calls that the serve. And then when they engage back with her, she comments back to them. And when they comment back, so this is the fourth interaction, when they comment back on this fourth interaction, that's when she follows or friends that person. So this could be, let's say they're talking about, parenting or something like that. She's a part of a lot of parenting groups. And so she'll say, oh, what did you do when your child got sick with this or something? And the person will respond. She'll respond back. And if the person continues to engage, she'll respond again. She sends a friend request right then, or she follows that person if she's doing this via Instagram. So, and she likes to make it a game where she's kind of challenging herself to make sure that she's engaging quite a few people per day in this way. And thus she's building up her number of friends. She's building her, so she's not necessarily posting anything about her business. She's simply increasing the size of her circle online. So some people are really natural at this, and others of us are just not, and that is perfectly fine. So wanted to give a couple examples of engagement online that might help you get started. So again, using the example of a parenting group, as I'm a parent, and I happen to be a part of some different parenting groups as well. So you can ask questions. So if you're posting rather than commenting, you can ask questions. People love to help each other. They really, truly, inherently love to help each other and give advice. And social is such a good place for that. So ask things that you really want to know about, that you really care about other people's opinions on. And let's just say, if this doesn't turn out to be a business associate, the next big leader in your group, that's okay, because you're getting value out of this that is useful to you and useful to your life anyway, right? So ask things you genuinely want to know. So for instance, what do you all do to help your kids eat healthy? Get exercise. I'm so frustrated. We've been in lockdown. What are you doing to keep your kids, give your kids exercise? Or I have such picky eaters. What can I do to get my kids to eat more vegetables? What are your strategies, other moms or dads? I guarantee you people will engage, because people have had these problems. They've been helped by others and they want to pay it forward. Just any kind of question like that, really. Favorite delivery takeout and why? I'm looking for recommendations. People will absolutely engage with you in that way. But you can also answer questions. So you'll see, once you become active in groups, if you're not already, you'll see that people are always asking these types of questions. So if you happen to have something to offer it. And that gives you your serve, right? If somebody else is asking, how are you staying connected to friends and family during this pandemic? And you're saying, oh, well, we do a video call once a week. You're responding and you're sharing your information. And if they respond back to you, make sure you strike up a discussion. And you could be looking at a new friend, a new person in your downline, or a person who's really interested in products that you may want to share with them. Okay, so here's the other thing. What if you join a group, you're really interested in the topic, but you don't know a lot about it? This same friend has this great way of just offering support to people. So she'll say, I'm just learning about this myself, so I don't have the answer, but just wanted to say, hang in there. You'll figure it out, and everything's going to be great. And people really do appreciate words of comfort. Again, people love to help online typically. So you can start a conversation like, hey, maybe we'll figure this out together. And it's been extremely effective. I've tried this. I've had other people use this, and just engage. Just take the plunge. Okay. So we talked a lot about these Facebook groups. But how does that get us into Instagram? Okay, sorry, little technicality. All right. Well, one of the most effective ways I've seen, some people just prefer to be on Instagram, and that's okay. You can do a lot on Instagram as well. But I still suggest doing some fun things with groups, because I feel like that is the fastest way to expand your circle. So how, if you get into a group and you're immersed in it, you really enjoy it, but you kind of would like to move some of this interaction to Instagram. So one of the things that you can do is start a follow thread. So what is a follow thread? It's just a comment letting people know that you enjoy the group and you also enjoy Instagram and you want to keep up with people on there too. So you might also let them know what your posts are like there. So for instance, something like, I've really enjoyed learning about health and wellness from you ladies. I'm just assuming it's a ladies group, could be a man's group. I'm sure some of you post about this on Instagram as well. Can we start a follow thread? Drop your handle in the comments and what your account is about, and let's catch up there. And then you're going to post yours, so people will then go and follow you on Instagram. So you're growing your network there as well. So once you start this follow thread, and you can do it in a number of ways, then go through and follow everybody who puts theirs, and hopefully they'll follow you as well. You could also say, hey, I post about health and wellness on Instagram. I'd love to keep up with you there. Come follow me. I also post about my kids and my dogs, because not everybody's going to have, I think this is another question people ask, do I need a separate account for business? So no, the answer is no. You can have if you want, but in general, social media really, going back to, it's a conversation. People want to know you. They don't, unless you're already really an established influencer or a brand, they're not trying to know your brand, they're trying to know you. So having an account where you post about the things that you do day in and day out, the places you go, your family, your friends, your hobbies, that's great. That's exactly what you want. You just are also going to interject your business into that account. So some people like to follow an 80-20 rule. They post about 80% of content on their lives and 20% on their business, so that people who maybe are not ready or not yet interested in the business are still getting value and enjoying learning about you, learning about your life. And of course, you're posting in such a way so that people know what your business is, and when they are ready to talk about it, they'll know how to do that with you. Okay, so which brings us to posting. So I'm in a group, I'm engaging, I'm becoming part of the community. What do I post? What do I post on Instagram once people follow me? What do I post on Facebook or in these groups, so that people will understand my business and be attracted to what I have to offer in that space? So again, depending on the group, you're probably focused more on bringing people into your circle than posting. But let's say you're in a group where you can self-promote. Is now the time you post that really pretty product shot like the ones we showed earlier? Not necessarily. How do you promote those your business or your products? How do you post on your own page to get all of those new followers and friends to become your partners? Well, we've talked about in past trainings, maybe some of you have seen those. We talked about content rules, or content maxims, I sometimes have called them. So we've talked about them before, but I wanted to go over a few of them again. So we're going to start with always add value, and details matter. So if you look at these three sort of example posts that I kind of made up, which one is most likely to make people stop and read your caption, read your comment? Well, depending on the person, any one of them could work. But if all you're doing is posting product images, people know you're selling something and they just instantly become less interested. Your product posts, if you choose to make them, should generally be subtle, add value, and of course be accurate without any overclaim. We've talked about this, or mention of disease or anything like that. So these are examples of 3 ways to post about the same product. So some ideas are to share interesting facts that are useful to know or make people wonder why you're posting them. So when I see something that says trouble sleeping, for some reason, I always stop. I always stop and read it, because if you happen to be a person who has an issue in that space, you're always looking for the next tip or advice, no matter where it would come from. So if somebody posted this calcium magnesium product, I probably wouldn't even stop unless they'd never done anything like that. And then I'd be like, why is that person posting that? But I probably wouldn't stop. But if they posted trouble sleeping, maybe you need magnesium, I would think, maybe I do. Let me see what this is about. And I'd read on a little more. The other thing is things that others might be experiencing that you don't have, or personal stories, right? Personal stories are extremely effective. That has not stopped. That has always been the case. And they've never, before and after pictures have never died. They've always been one of the most effective posts you can make on social media to show that something is effective. So I like to say, if you don't have your own story, you can always borrow one. You can always borrow one. There's always someone in your organization or someone you know, or your market leaders can help you find testimonials, and you can share those stories. Or pose a hypothetical like this. Do you have trouble sleeping? Something like that. So where people stop and they say, you know what, I do, and it applies to me. So it's value to me to stop and read that, right? Then sort of like a did you know post. It's really interesting when I was thinking about posting this idea that statistically people in Asia consume critically low amounts of dietary calcium. Why would my friend whoever post this? Why is that important? That's kind of a strange thing to post. And I wonder, do I consume not enough calcium? So just things that kind of get you thinking, that pique your curiosity. They will do the same for others as well. Okay, so I heard there was a contest around posting on Unimate on Instagram, and I was asked to take a look, and there's some really great posts. I picked a couple that I liked, and I want to tell you why I like the posts. So I don't think that I don't have anything to do with picking the winners or anything, but I'm going to tell you why I like these 2 posts. And if they're your posts, thank you for unintentionally letting me share them, but they're very good. So this first post, it has a nice hand, a well-manicured finger I can see. That's kind of a cute pop of color. The composition of the photo is really nice. I can tell it's a product, but it's like a real person enjoying that product that I know. And I see, as I'm scrolling, usually I'm catching the first line of what people are posting in addition to their picture. And so I see happier mornings, and I'm like, that's interesting to me. What's happy mornings? So for this one, when I saw happier mornings with yerba mate, I thought, well, that's really interesting, because she didn't say anything about getting this product. She just said that it makes her happier. Well, that's interesting. And it looks really kind of good. Maybe I would also need something like that. Okay, so it makes me stop. It's an attractive picture. It's real. It looks authentic. So I like that post for that reason. Really similar with this second post here. you know, it's attractive picture, it's nice composition. I can see that there's a product there, but I caught the first line of the post. When life hands you lemons, put them in your tea. And I thought that was really cute because it's an unexpected take on a saying, right? And then it got me interested enough to read more about this. I'm obsessed with things that help me improve mental clarity, focus, productivity. Oh my gosh. Juggling between work, house chores, and kids, that is my life. That is my life. So I am interested in it, and I stop and I read her whole post. And it's not showing here on the screen, but she actually is saying, if you're interested in this, go ahead and DM me, which is a great method. Some people like to do it, some people don't. But I think it's always, I would err on the side of just asking people to message you if they're interested, because often they will. And in some cases, if you're not asking, they may not do it, even if they are interested. So both of these posts, really great looking posts, and certainly a great way to post about product in your feed. Okay. So going on with our content rules, we talked about subtlety being powerful. So I have on my professional Facebook page, I am friends with nearly all network marketing people. Most of them are women, but not all, from a number of companies across really the world. And so on any given day in my feed, I see many of these types of posts, many posts from them talking about their products, talking about their business opportunity. And so I kind of stole this. Don't steal somebody else's post without permission. But I kind of stole this because I thought it was a really good post, and I wanted to share it with you and share why I thought it was a good post. So subtlety is powerful. Like I said, you want to ease your audience into the message you want them to hear. So this person is posting about toothpaste. Okay, I've tried to cover up names for privacy, and so she didn't have these white boxes on there, but she's posting about toothpaste, and she's saying there's a couple things going on here. One, this post isn't perfectly polished, so it seems really genuine, right? She's like some random place. It's kind of busy in the background, but she looks happy and she's smiling. And she's offered a before and after, right? And it's not her before and after. She's borrowed this from a friend because perhaps she didn't take a before or whatever. So she's doing her own testimonial saying, my teeth are white and I love my smile, and look at my friend's results. Look at her before and after. And then she shares her testimonial, and she's creating curiosity with the post. So she's not trying to sell something. Oh no, she's not sharing the brand. She's not saying, look at this amazing product, toothpaste X, come and buy it right now. She's offering to help. Like I said, people love to help online. So she's just saying, hey, if you're interested, let me know. I'll hook you up. And people have to come to her to ask. They can't go and Google it. They have to come to her to find out what it is that she's using. So you can see that her little post got 43 comments, and people want more info, and they want to know the price, send it to me. People are asking questions, and then she is able to follow up with each of them one by one. So she's not selling, she's helping. She's just saying, hey, I found something great that works for me. And so people are coming to her. Okay, so we talked about consistency in the groups. It's really key in becoming a member of a community and build your following with high quality content regularly. So I gave some general numbers. There is no perfect magical number. I always laugh when people are experts on social media, because social media is really ever changing, and you can know a lot and you can be quite good at it, but it's hard to be an expert. So different things are true for everyone. However, this is a pretty good rule of thumb. Don't just post for posting's sake, though. Remember to be genuine and always quality over quantity. So with Facebook, I always suggest you're at least posting 1 time per week, or 3 times per week max. And this is just to your page. You can converse and engage in a community as much as you want. There's absolutely no limit on that. You shouldn't be the person starting the post in your community all the time, but you can engage and converse and the art of the rally all day, every day, if you choose to do so. But as far as posting, you're going to go maybe that 3 times a week. Then on Instagram, minimum 3 times per week, but maximum 1 time per day is generally a pretty good rule of thumb. One thing to keep in mind is if you are constantly posting, you're always showing up in somebody's feed and they don't get to interact with anyone else. And they might love you and your quantity, your content might be fantastic quality, but they do want to engage with other people in their feed, not just you. So make sure that you're only really posting 1 time a day. With stories, I know a lot of people ask about Instagram stories or Facebook stories. That is really kind of an open world. So I would say just watch your follower count. Ask people questions in your stories. Make sure that it's engaging and don't just talk at them. So some people say, well, what happens if I post too little or too much? I've seen an interesting study that pages under 10,000 fans experience a 50% drop in engagement per post if they post more than once per day. So you definitely don't want that drop in engagement. Okay, now building your brand. Just remember to present yourself well. I always like to put this in because I still see it all the time. Do not have the random avatar, no picture in your social accounts. Make sure it's a picture of you and not a grumpy picture of you like in this purple example. A nice picture of you where you look, don't have to be smiling, but you should look relatively happy. Don't post a picture from an event where you've got it cropped funny like this one. Don't post a picture with really bad lighting. And, consider what you're wearing. This was really interesting. I've shared this before, but I think there's a site you can go to and actually it will rate which one of your pictures you should use. And I think somebody who's generally dressed, relatively casually, professional looking, casual, and good light, and tends to be the most liked profile post. Okay, so be duplicatable. When we talk about content rules, you may wonder if aspirational or authentic is the right way to go. And the one thing I always just say to people is you can absolutely post all of your wonderful experiences. That's great because it attracts people to the lifestyle. Just be mindful in how you describe it and how often you're posting this type of thing, because if people feel like they can't do what you do, they will never be attracted to the business opportunity. So I've seen people post speaking in front of big crowds and people say, oh, that's not for me. I could never do that. So it's not that you can't post a picture of you speaking at a meeting or anything like that, because that's great. Just maybe remember to engage in your comments and say, I never would have thought that I'd be this person, but here I am, and I've developed confidence and all of these other things. So just be really genuine in your descriptions if you're going to kind of go this more aspirational route. Okay, so people are always saying, well, give me some good ideas, things that you've seen work effectively before. So here's a couple posts that I always call a win-win, creating a win-win situation. So one post that I've seen be really effective is, I'm in a contest with my team and I need to send someone I've never done business with before a free sample of a product. Drop me a note below if you are up to trying to help me win this contest. Something like that, some kind of challenge in your organization. Because again, people love helping, right? And I actually gave this similar training, not this exact training, to a group in the Philippines, and they've been so kind as to let me share their experience. But I said, one post I've seen be really effective is charity posts or fundraising posts where you're saying something like, I'm putting together, you're posting this on your page, I'm putting together kits for a local shelter for the holidays, around the holidays, or it doesn't have to be holidays, anytime. If you're interested in sponsoring a personal care kit by providing tubes of toothpaste or other healthcare products, please reach out. So you kind of have to figure out what's best in terms of what type of product that Unicity makes that would be appropriate for some type of fundraiser. But I had this, I shared this idea, and then an awesome group in the Philippines gave it a shot. And they posted about it on social media. So I thought I would share their results just because it's a nice little feel-good story and made me really, really happy. So you can see that through this method, look at this truckload of product that they ended up getting sponsored. So as a result of trying this method, they ended up getting donations for hand sanitizer, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and coffee. So I think the toothbrushes, toothpaste, or at least the toothpaste, coffee, and hand sanitizer came from Unicity. So they made 668 care bags for a children's organization in the Philippines. And they did some good. They got PV out of it. They did some good for their community, and the people who engaged with them got to feel good from it as well. And now they can talk to those people and say, hey, you participated in this thing. Thanks for your help. And they have an ongoing relationship in that way. So I just love this story. So I wanted to share. Okay, so then I always share this because it's just really funny to me. I mentioned how many posts I see from direct sellers, tons and tons and tons. And so I always kind of throw this post out there to shock the system. So every once in a while, once you become a social media pro and you're doing all kinds of fascinating things, break the rules when nobody's expecting it. If you are posting all these really beautiful professional pictures, post a picture that just shocks people that have been following you. You never know who you might connect with. So I'm scrolling through and I see this post, and it said, and I catch like, okay, this mom, she's got a messy table with food and like a juice like knocked over, and she's laid out all these products on like her messy table. And I'm like, that's weird. And she's talking about, again, sleep. Struggling, my kids don't sleep ever. I don't think I had a full night's sleep in years. And of course, so look at down here in the comments. Here's me, not even like putting 2 and 2 together. I'm like, where do you get it? And turns out she was talking about some products from an MLM. So I just thought that it was funny that even somebody who knows, what they're looking for, if you're speaking to them about something that they need help with, they will stop and respond. Okay, so a couple other ways that you can use Facebook groups before we go. I would be remiss if I didn't cover these because there's so much to talk about when it comes to social. So again, we won't be able to cover everything in one session, but I do want to quickly share a couple other ways that I've seen people use social media groups to be really effective. So a lot of people have a private group for their teams, a private Facebook group. And in that way, they're using that group to share content and to connect with their team, encourage one another. If they're going on vacation, they pick a different host. They have trainings. They have host takeovers in their Facebook groups so that you're not always hearing from the same person in your upline. Maybe you're hearing from a crossline or somebody new who's maybe giving you a different perspective on what they're finding currently effective in social. And these team pages, I've seen them be really incredible places. Some people are a little bit brave and they let people take a sneak peek. So they've connected with people on Facebook, and then they've said, okay, if you're interested in doing what I do, I can add you to my team page for a sneak peek. And you can see what it's like to be on my team. And a lot of times, if your groups are just really positive and there's a lot of information and sort of recognition, you're shouting out people when they're having successes, that ends up being a positive space that people really want to be a part of long term. So the other thing is comment or accountability pods. So these are small groups that exchange one thing for another. So I want to go back really quick to this toothpaste post. Clear back here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you can see here a couple people in these posts. This one right here, she says, I love it. And this one down here says, my most favorite toothpaste. So these people know her, right? And they're trying to pump up her sales. So that 43 comments, when you see that, you're thinking, wow, a lot of people are really interested in this. I should pay attention to it. So if you have these comment pods where you and your team are agreeing to post on one another's posts, then you are drumming up that excitement for one another. And you can coordinate that through your Facebook team page or any other way, but commenting on making agreements to comment back and forth on others' posts can be really effective. Okay, so last thing to cover. Let's say your newfound social savvy is getting you tons of prospects. Now what? Well, you can manage them with whatever method you normally follow. You can also use this interesting method that I have seen a lot of people use successfully. They call it ATM. So ATM stands for add, tag, message. People have been successfully using it for quite a few years since kind of Facebook groups became a thing. So I'm going to borrow from their opinions and tell you why they say it works. So when people get a new prospect, sometimes they give them some materials. They do a closing call or a three-way call. Maybe you guys are doing it this way. What happens to those people who don't say yes, like right then on that call? A lot of times people say, you know what, bless and release. I just let them go. I move on to get my next yes. But what I think is great about the ATM method is that ATM kind of does the follow-up for you. Here's how it works. So you've got this team page that we talked about, or maybe you even have a completely separate group. So some people have several Facebook groups that they're managing for different purposes, one for product, one for opportunity, and one for their team. You don't have to do it that way, but some people do it that way. And they have a group, and there's someone who's interested in the product or interested in the business. So you've made a friend on Facebook and you've determined that they're interested. You say, well, hey, you know what? No pressure. I'll just add you to my group. If you allow me to add you to this group, then you can check it out for yourself, which a lot of people are really comfortable doing. It's easy to get a yes to be added to a Facebook group. Easier to get a yes than like join my business or buy my product. There's no commitment, right, to be added to a Facebook group. So it seems to be easy to get a yes in that way for a lot of distributors that I talk to. So they add them to this secret group, but you only add them with permission. Don't ever add anyone without permission. Then you tag that person in a particular post and you say, this is what we talked about, whether it's about the opportunity or about a specific product. Have a look. And then after that, you message them. You can give them some time to check out the group. Ideally, maybe there's some testimonials in that group. Maybe you're recognizing other team members for achievements, but they're kind of just hanging out and kind of taking in the culture, taking in the experience. And this whole time they're getting notifications about posts that are occurring in the group or people that maybe they ask a question in the group and people happily respond. So it's kind of a drip campaign that Facebook is doing for you when your prospect is in this group. So then what people do is they often will message them in a messaging group. So let's say you normally bring in one of your leaders to like on a closing call or three-way call. You can do that in the group chat through Messenger. So the great part about this is it's kind of hard sometimes for people to commit to a phone call, especially a younger demographic would much rather just do it in a group chat and respond when it's easy for them. And so often you find someone with commonalities to your prospect, you introduce them in the group chat, let your leader or whoever else answer all of those questions, and go from there. Close how you normally would close, and that's definitely your area of expertise. But the ATM method is a really interesting way that I've seen people using Facebook groups, so I wanted to share it. Now, it might not be for everyone, and that's okay. The one thing I would say is that if you have something that's working amazing for you, don't be distracted. Just stick with what works. But so many people I know who are using this, they report having a lot more time freedom. They scale their business wider. They scale their business faster. So it's just something that we wanted to kind of bubble up and make people aware of, that it's out there, and some people are using it with some success. So in closing, do not get overwhelmed. There is so much to social. If it's new to you, go ahead and start small. Pick just a few things to focus on, one group maybe, and see what type of results you get. You can also, again, remember, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So social media just helps you get more people who will eventually be your friend and maybe your business partner. So that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for attending this training. And I'd love to hear how things go for you. If you try any of these methods or exercises, or just would love to hear. So thanks for your time, and have a great day, night, wherever you are.
Wow, what a great sessions. And I have learned a lot from Colette. I hope you did too. So the session was very informative. There's already like 1 or 2 points that I can work on it now. How about you? So this is the end of today's session. If you have any questions, please feel free to send the emails to your local customer service team, and we will forward it to Colette. So thank you and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.